taking down the Cathedral of Boston. Priceless.
It's gonna be a motherfucker, you know that, right?
Well, if we're easy, kid, everybody would do it.
Being in Fenway Park was really amazing for me. The only other time I'd worked there was a movie. I'd been an extra in Field of Dreams when I was in high school. Matt Damon and I went down and were extras for $50 to be in the park. Something other than baseball, being there in off hours, it felt special and like a privilege and a thrill.
It's a Boston landmark. It's constantly surrounded by people, especially during the season. It is a mecca for baseball fans.
It's kind of this big, almost religious-like place in Boston where you walk in, and it's just something very surreal about the atmosphere there.
Never being in Fenway and then being able to shoot there, it was an amazing free pass and a quick education into understanding what Fenway really is. It's awesome.
There's so much history there, and being a Red Sox fan, for me, it's a big plus.
The first thing that strikes you is how old Fenway is and how it's in the middle of the city, in the middle of the fabric of the city. And all these famous monuments, Yawkey Way, the Green Monster, and then going onto the field. You can't believe you're in Fenway Park.
It's a great church of baseball. There's no question getting that location was really tough. You couldn't double for it, and you couldn't really build any set anywhere near that. I didn't think that either Fenway or Major League Baseball would ever say yes.
We contacted the Red Sox about 8 months before we wanted to film there. We worked through the process with them and literally started from page one. Here's the script, here's what we'd like to do.
As cool as the setting it is for film, we've only had a few requests, and it's also difficult, as you can imagine, with the baseball schedule to accommodate.
Who but Ben Affleck could actually get the permission of Fenway Park to have a massive gun battle in the bowels of Fenway Park?
The new ownership of Fenway is pretty savvy about marketing, creating events, and making stuff pretty exciting. They just want to make sure we weren't doing like Fangoria at Fenway. And once they knew that we weren't doing that, it was like fun.
What it came down to was there was a 2-week window where the Sox were on the road for 10 or 12 games, and that was our window.
When you've seen the film, you'll realize that there's no way this could have happened while the team was in town. We're blessed to have Ben Affleck as a fan of the Red Sox, and so if it wasn't him, we probably wouldn't have considered this.
I am a huge Red Sox fan, and I have been a big supporter, and they knew that I would be doing it a solid. Definitely a salute to Fenway.
We did our first read-through of the script in one of the boxes in Fenway, which was a great way to sort of kick off the film.
I was a teenager selling Coke and cotton candy and popcorn in Fenway Park, so to be in there shooting a film was very surreal.
The first day on set, it was sunrise. I walked right out into the park the first opportunity I had, and just to see the empty red seats everywhere, just completely vacant. It was bizarre. It was a crazy experience.
Action!
This is a big deal sequence. It was 17 days of shooting. So that was really high pressure, knowing that no matter what happened, we just had to go. We were gonna get what we got, and that was gonna be that. I've been in plenty of action movies, so I had some film reference, but I had never directed action in that way. So it was something new and something scary for me. It felt like this is really the time that we need to sort of work our best as a production. Luckily, I had a really good team.
Guys, let's go. I want the street clear. Come on, get these people out of here. Let's go.
It was John Hamm's first stuff. Always tricky when you're introducing somebody. I like to sort of start with something that's not hard, sort of get your toe in the water, but we weren't able to do that. We had to preset gun hits and stuff like that, but I wanted people to feel loose, and because I felt like the actors were going to carry it. It didn't matter with the guns and any of that stuff. It mattered about what the actors were doing. And Jeremy and Owen and Slane really were great during that sequence.
I think what really helped about that scene, for the actors anyway, is the whole smell of Fenway. The whole fact of actually being in this, I think really drove them to kind of make this special.
The guns got very hot, especially at the front of them. They put on a lot of gas, so you look at the movie and you slow it down frame by frame, you see these huge flames that come out of those things. They're very intense, violent weapons, and even though you're shooting blanks, you need to be really respected and you need to be careful of. We had a very good armor, Doug Fox, who really got it and understood that and helped everyone else understand it.
We had a training session in pre-production. Actually, two of them. We had one where I just took John Hamm to the police range here in Andover, and he live fired his shotgun, which he did very well. He hit the target on the first shot, and I knew that it was going to be pretty easy with him for the rest of the movie. Then we had another session with the Charlestown bank robbery guys. Got them familiar and saw who was comfortable, who wasn't. Jeremy's ready for war at any time. He knows how to handle weapons. He knows how to handle them safely. He also reloads on camera, which is very hard to do. He does stunt with his guns. He's just probably one of the best guys I've seen with firearms.
I don't think he's done a movie where he hasn't shot a machine gun. He had already the sort of SWAT military technique, and I was wanting him to not look like that. So he needed to be brought down a little bit because it was a second nature for him.
I spent a lot of time training with weapons on a lot of the films, you know, from The Hurt Locker to SWAT. Because of that, I found a love for shooting. I really dig it. To me, it's like a skill set.
We shot 7.62 rounds. We shot 2.23 rounds. We shot a lot of big rifle rounds in there, full load, and lit it up.
Thousands of rounds of fully automatic ammunition. I mean, it was a war zone for days.
I would say if anybody was to wager on how many rounds we fired, it's in the neighborhood of 8,000 to 10,000.
It was very exciting. There was helicopters and crashes and shotguns and everything else.
Everybody's getting hit with shrapnel somehow, some way. It's part of the fun.
Offline.
We closed down a major thoroughfare, Boylston Street, nearby. It's a major artery in the city. It took a lot of coordination and begging and pleading.
Jeremy's running across the street, he's running through all these cars, and he's shooting his gun. He's an amazing guy. He's amazing in the way that he's just so comfortable and gets it and is so confident that all that stuff's gonna get pulled off.
This one is a really fun death scene. It's pretty intense. My jacket was not too dissimilar from this one. It was lined with like 35 squibs. Squib hits all these little explosions, packets of blood, dust, or whatever. I got shot probably 30 times. People apparently didn't like me.
Action!
The 2 weeks that we were there shooting automatic weapons, there was only one phone call to the police about anybody worried about automatic weapons going off. So I don't know what that says about Boston or the neighborhood or Fenway, but I thought that was an interesting little statistic.